And we are on. So welcome to the repeat of the kickoff event for virtual skill builders. First of all, I want to make sure you can all hear me well enough because I'm farther away from my mic than I normally am.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thanks. And we do have the recording going, so that problem's taken care of from last time. I forgot to turn it on. And let me get my slides open and we'll get started with that. So welcome to the celebration. Let me minimize this so it's not in your way. Now, before we dive into the fun and the celebration, I just wanted to acknowledge that some of you may be feeling like the way I do once in a while, like, oh, is there really anything to celebrate right now? Our whole country's dealing with this pandemic, and with a lot of us are dealing with severe weather. Some of us are dealing with lost jobs or with illness in our families. Political strife going on. There's a lot that we're dealing with. But as one of my teachers told me years ago, us being miserable isn't going to change any of that. There are things that we're all doing to help in our own way. And if we have a little bit of fun now and then, it's not going to make anything worse. So we have permission to celebrate even when things are going badly. So there are a couple of things that we celebrated last week on July 1st, and those are going to come up here next. One day we celebrated was Canada Day. Well, that was a week ago, so we're not going to celebrate it today. And another day we were celebrating is Happy Fiscal New Year, everybody. And again, that's a week old, but fun anyway. And the main reason we're celebrating today is to kick off this new program that we are now 1 week into. We're calling it Virtual Skill Builders. And the point of it is to have a little training or learning opportunity for you every week. Some of it will be related to teams. Some of it will be other topics for the virtual environment that we're all living and working in right now. But the main thing is to just keep you a little bit active and keep you learning new things and keeping brushed up on your skills. The way it's going to work is we'll have a repeating pattern each month, 4 sessions. Week 1 of each month is going to be a Microsoft Teams tip. We had that yesterday. Charlie Matthew was our instructor for that. And I will show you later where you can find the recording of yesterday's session. The idea is to have a short demo, about 10 to 15 minutes, and then time for you to practice afterwards or time to ask questions, depending on what the task is. Yesterday, we didn't actually have practice time. Charlie shared quite a number of tips with us, and then people had questions about some of them. And as I said, that was all recorded, so I'll show you where you can find that. Week 2 of every month, I'm calling it DRO stories, but this first month we're actually going to be not talking about a DRO. We have a couple people coming in next Wednesday to talk about how their local region is using Teams. There have been some questions asked in different places about starting a team for people setting one up for their local region, and how should they name it so people can find it and things like that. So I thought we'd ask a couple of people who are already using it. Sharon Andrews is going to talk about what they're doing in the Pacific Northwest, and Eric Lorenz is going to talk about what they're doing in the Illinois region. And then we'll try to address some questions people might have about how to start a team for their region. Do they need to tie it to their division? You do it independently? What are the options there? So we'll look at some of those questions next week. And because of their schedules, we're doing that one next week in the evening. I think the same time as this one. Week 3 every month is going to be some other virtual tip. This month, we're actually going to have a couple people talk about Volunteer Connection and look at some resources that are available, maybe talk about some of the enhancements that have been done to Volunteer Connection that you may or may not have known about. They'll point out where some resources are available if you want to learn more about Volunteer Connection. And it's also important for you to know where those are if you get questions from other people in your region about Volunteer Connection, or if you're working on a virtual DRO and another DCS volunteer may have questions about Volunteer Connection. So you can point them to these resources that we're going to show you. Or maybe if you study those yourself, you'll be able to just answer the question for them too. And then the 4th week of every month, we're going to have an open office hours where you can drop in for whenever that half hour is scheduled to ask questions about teams or about virtual DRs, anything related to DST service. And I'm not sure yet who's going to be staffing that. I'm still working on getting somebody lined up for that this month at least. We definitely want to have somebody who has Teams familiarity as well as pretty comfortable with the information about DST policies. So that's the plan. And then looking more specifically at this month, as I said yesterday, Charlie did our Teams tips. Next week, we're going to have 2 DST leads talking about how they're using Teams in their region. Volunteer Connection, we actually have 2 people coming that week as well on the 23rd. One of them is from Volunteer Resources, and the other is from Disaster Workforce Engagement. So they'll both be talking a little bit about what you should know and where to find the information about it in Volunteer Connection. And then I don't have a time yet for the open office hours, but I'm planning it for Thursday, July 30th. So let me come out of screen sharing for a second and see if there's any questions about the program so far. And if you do have a question, let's see. You can go ahead and raise your hand, or if you want to just unmute yourself. We don't have a real big group tonight, so I don't think we'll have to worry about everybody talking at once.
Hey, Susan.
Yeah.
This is John.
Okay, before you go ahead, somebody needs to mute their mic. Somebody who is not using a headset has got themselves unmuted. That's why we're getting an echo. So it sounds like we took care of it right now. If you do want to ask a question, hopefully you've got a headset or earbuds in so that we don't get that echo. Or you're also welcome to type a question in the chat. And I'm not seeing anything right now. Somebody did ask, will all of the sessions be recorded? And the answer is yes, unless something goes wrong, but that's the plan, that they will be recorded. The recordings will always be available in Teams, but I am also copying them to the DST training videos channel in YouTube so that people who are not members of our MS Teams and are just joining as a guest, that they will still be able to view the recordings. All right, so let's see, John is asking a question. What about tech training? Can you say more specifically what you mean, John? I mean, to me, all of this is tech training. So if you had something more specific in mind, let me know. The gear that you would use on a DRO. Well, that is a good question. Right now, we are not going to include that in this series. This is really focused on virtual work. Right now, we're not doing that much with DROs with setting up equipment. We might be doing some equipment setup for some of the DRs, especially as we get into bigger responses during hurricane season. I'm told that they will be partly virtual and partly in person, but these trainings are specifically to focus on the virtual skills. We are still working on whether we can put together some kind of a substitute for the hands-on training, which normally, we do in person. That is not going to happen the way it normally does this year, but we're looking at whether we can do some kind of substitute. It won't be quite the same, but hopefully we'll know more in the next month or so if that's going to happen. All right, let me get back into the slides and we'll move on to the demo portion. So I wanted to show you today for our other virtual tip. My colleague Derek and I get questions sometimes from people about, why can't they get the full version of Office installed on whatever equipment there was sent to them, for a response or whatever, or Derek works with some of the instructors. Sometimes they ask that as well. And of course, that takes a different kind of license that costs more to have the full version of Office. But a lot of people we're discovering don't really know how easy it is to use the web version of the Office programs. So I'm going to show you an example in that today, but let me show you a couple samples first in showing you how to use PowerPoint online. I want to show you how to create these very easy animated GIFs made from completely static images. They're going to look like they're animated, but they're really not. So here's the straight static image. This is the one I showed last week. And here's what it looks like animated. Here's another sample I put together for today. That's the straight static image. And there's how it turned it into a GIF. And it doesn't have to be just text. Here's an example with just images. And I'm going to do something similar with you right now as the demo. So let's create a GIF. I'm going to open an additional PowerPoint file. And would somebody let me know if you can see the new file now that says demo on the screen? Is it the right window? Okay, thank you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you in here, I created the file already, but what I'm going to do is change the size of this because I'm going to work with a square image and I'm going to create something that is in a square format, which you could use to post on the side of a slide in a slideshow, or those square images work well for sharing on social media too, if you do anything with that. So I'm going to go to the Design tab. And slide size. And custom slide size. And I am just going to choose custom here. And I usually do 6 inches. You can do larger, but it makes the files kind of big because even though GIFs are fun, they're not a very efficient file type. So if you make them too big, the files get pretty large. All right, so now we have a square shape here. And I'm going to get rid of this text box because we don't need that. All right, you can see it's not a normal slide shape, right? Then I'm going to insert an image. And let's see, where did I save it? I thought it was in there. Oh, I know. I put it in the downloads. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to expand that to fill up the whole slide. And the first thing I'm going to do is I usually leave the original there and then duplicate the slide. I'm just going to use Control D over here in the left column to do that. And then I'm going to insert a rectangle. You'll have to excuse me, I'm having a little hard time here because it's so humid. My fingers are sticking on my glide pad. All right, then obviously we want this to match. Well, actually, it might not be obvious because I haven't really explained how this works yet. I'm going to fill it with white. And I'm going to remove the outline. So we have one row covered up now. And I'm going to copy that rectangle. I'm going to use Control C and then Control V. And then drag that down to cover the second row. And then Control C and Control V to cover up the third row. Okay, so now we have a completely blank slide. I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to start with this top row and just drag the edge over here to reveal the first part of the image. I'm going to duplicate that slide and drag it over to reveal the second image. So what we're doing here is creating a series of images. All these slides are going to get exported as images. We're going to take them to a free website where we can convert those images then into a GIF. Now, when we get to the third one here, I can just delete that last part. So now we have the whole first row revealed. Hopefully that's making sense so far. I'm going to duplicate again and start on the second row. Duplicate again. and delete the last part. The slide and start on the third row. And duplicate once more and take the last part off. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do this right now because I think you'll still get the idea, but what I would probably do is continue from here and start covering them up, starting with the top left one. So we would gradually cover them up one at a time. So we go back to what we started with initially. I think you get the idea. I'll show you how to export all these slides now as separate images. And there's not that many, right? There's 10 slides if we don't count the first one. But you know what? We will include that too. That's fine. It's going to look the same as the last one. But you'll see when we start to put it into the GIF website that it's fine to have it duplicated like that. All right, so here's one thing that is different when you're working in the web version. Saving the slides as images is, you don't use the same menu and the same functions that you do in the installed version. But one of the things that's nice about the web version is you don't have to know what the method is for doing it in here. If it's not something that you see in these menus, all you have to do is, why isn't it coming up? So I just type save as image, and it tells me its terminology is download as images. So that's the same thing. All I have to do is click on that and it does it for me. It doesn't tell me how to do it. It just does it. So that's it. All I have to do is click download and it's now saved it to my download folder as a zip file. That's easy, right? That is true for lots of different tasks. There will be some that you'll find that you may not be able to do in the web-based version. That example I showed you earlier with the popsicles where it had a kind of a light blue background, I could not find a way to use the eyedropper to match the background color to my rectangle. So I had to open this in the installed version on my laptop in order to do that part. But that was the only thing I found that I could not do in the web version. All right, let me close this PowerPoint. And I'm going to take you to the EasyGIF website, easygif.com. It has 4 main sections. We're going to go to the GIF maker. And the first thing I have to do is go and unzip this file. So let me show it in the folder. I don't know if this pop-up window will show for you or not, but really all I'm going to do is unzip this. Or extract all, I should say. All right, so there are my images. Now on the EasyGIF site, I'm going to click on Choose Files. And I'm going to open the Summer GIF demo. I'm going to select all those images. And notice it just puts slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. They're all numbered in order. So we have 11 files we're bringing in. I click upload and make a GIF. Now, there are lots of things you can do to modify this. Normally, I just leave the defaults there. And then if it gets produced and it's too fast, there are adjustments you can make afterwards, or if it's too slow and you want to speed it up. The one thing I do like to do is to have a slight pause when I get to the end before it starts over. So by having 2 versions of it there, that does give us a little bit more time. But the other thing I can do is change the timing here. So I'm going to change that one to 40. And then in addition to the repeat, that'll give us 3 times as long on that last slide before it starts over. Hopefully that makes sense. Then I'm going to go ahead and click make a GIF. And there it is. And you see there's a slight pause before it starts over again. Lots of things you could do to change. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to save the file as a GIF. And it seems to be running a little bit slow. Oh, I guess it did. It saved it automatically. Okay. All right, so that's probably in my downloads folder then. All right, let me go back into the slideshow here and let's bring in the GIF that I just created. And you just insert a picture. It's going to treat a GIF just like a JPEG or a PNG file. Normally I give it a different name, but I didn't take the time to go rename that. All right, let me just expand that a little bit. Now, these slides are widescreen, so it's going to have space on the sides, but you can see it running there. But if I put it into slideshow mode, that's your GIF. All right, so let's take a little pause here and see if there are any questions about that. And by the way, I uploaded some files to a folder on in the virtual skill builders team in the general tab. In the general channel on the files tab. There's a folder there for Independence Day images and also one for summer images. Carlo, I don't know about the keystrokes for a Mac. I'm sorry, I am not a Mac person. All right. Does the general approach to hiding and then revealing it one step at a time, that makes sense to everybody? In order to create the illusion of animation? Steve says it makes sense. Good. The nice thing is you can do that in any program that you might want to use for your graphics, right? It doesn't even have to be PowerPoint because you're not really animating anything. It is amazingly straightforward, and yet it requires sort of thinking backwards to make it work. All right, so let me show you. Can I get there? Let's see. I'm going to show you where you can find this. Can somebody let me know, am I still sharing my screen? You should see my Teams screen now.
We're seeing the GIF still playing in PowerPoint.
You
Susan.
are, okay. Oh, you know what? I probably have to stop sharing first and then reshare. Thank you. All right, let me share Microsoft Teams. All right.
And now we are seeing Teams.
Okay, thanks. All right, so in the Virtual Skill Builders team, as I said, we've got multiple channels in there, but in the general channel, I've got these two folders here with images. Those are all free images from a site called pixabay.com. I uploaded them here in case if you're trying to do it on a Red Cross computer, I don't know if it will let you go to pixabay.com or not. I do most of that work on my own computer at home, but they're uploaded here so you can download any of these that you want. And if you're not aware of this, you can change the view. Instead of looking at a list, if you want to see the actual images before you download one, you can switch to the tile view instead. So here's the one we just did with the flip-flops. So have fun with those. And if you do end up creating something, I'd love to have you post it in the team here and let us see what you created. All right, a couple more things before we wrap up here. Oh, I said I would show you where the recording is from yesterday. The recording from tonight, I'll probably post in the general tab here. But then I have these week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 set up for the weekly sessions. So yesterday's session is here in the week 1. And you can see the recording up here. Now I know some people have been having trouble with the Microsoft Stream links, and I believe the explanation I've seen is that if you're joining the session as a guest, that you will not be able to access the recording in Microsoft Stream. So I have uploaded it also to the DST YouTube channel, and I put that link right here so that you can get to the same recording. All right. One other thing I wanted to mention is if you have not yet joined the Virtual Skill Builders team, you can do that. You do need to have a Red Cross email address or a Red Cross account in order to join the team. So I'll share the code for you to use to join that. And the where you would use it is you go to the Teams tab in your Teams app and you come down here to the bottom left corner where it says join or create a team. Once you click on that, you'll see a place where you can enter the code. So let me grab that code for you. And let's stop the GIF so it doesn't drive everybody crazy. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my team screen. And let's see. That's what I need. Chat. Okay, so here is the code you need if you want to join the team. And again, if you don't have a Red Cross email, it won't let you join. So you'll just have to continue watching the trainings as a guest. But if you can join the team, go ahead, because then you'll be able to upload your practice exercises when you do them, such as the GIF from tonight. And then got a couple more quick things to share with you, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. All right, so we have a 4th of July quiz. I know it's a week late, but I thought you might have fun with the quiz anyway. So I'm going to read the questions and you can just type your answer in the chat. So first question is, when did the American colonies declare themselves to be independent from British rule? July 2nd. Well, technically it was July 2nd, but we usually celebrate it on July 4th in 1776. Yep, you got it right. And Donald, I see you're saying you didn't see the code. It's right above where you put your post there. Yes, Steve, the last I checked, we no longer answer to King George. What was the name of the document they wrote for that purpose of declaring their independence? Declaration of Independence, yes. Yeah, Dan, can you remind me when we get done with the quiz? I'll show you where to find that link to the YouTube channel. All right, here's a good one. What was a well-known colonial act of civil disobedience or civil unrest, or some people might even have called it looting? The Tea Party, right? Boston Tea Party. And what were they protesting? Taxes, you're right. Lots of smart people here. Okay, when did the American colonies declare themselves to be the new country called the United States of America? Anybody know? Yeah, we got some guesses similar to what I would have said originally. I was surprised when I looked this up. It was actually just a few months after the Declaration of Independence. It was September of 1776. September 9th. Yep, somebody else Googled it like I did. All right, let's change topic a little bit. When was the American Red Cross founded and by whom? I'm sure you all know who, right? Clara Barton, that's right. Anybody know what year? Earlier than that. Later than that, 1881, yep. And where's the headquarters of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Society? Yep, Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland, to be specific. What holiday do Americans celebrate on July 4th? Independence Day, right? What holiday do Americans celebrate on June 19th? Juneteenth, right? And what country celebrates their freedom on July 14th instead of July 4th? France, good job. Here's a real trivia question for you. How many countries have red, white, and blue flags? "20." Somebody's fast on the Google, I think. Yeah, 20 was the right answer. Who invented fireworks and approximately when? The Chinese, yep. Around 1000 AD is what I found. Anybody know when they were first used in the United States? From what I looked up, it looks like they were used for the first Independence Day celebration in 1777. Yep, somebody else is confirming that. Good. It might have been in Boston, Claire. I can't remember where. Either Boston or Philadelphia, probably. All right. And one last question. Who wrote the famous march, The Stars and Stripes Forever? Yep, you got it. John Philip Sousa. And you even spelled it right, some of you. All right. I'm going to share a couple of links with you that you can listen to on your own afterwards. One is a fun version of the Stars and Stripes played by the Navy band with everybody recording from home. Like you've probably seen a lot of those musical shares on YouTube lately. And then there's one that I just shared a link to the ending because their ending is so unique. I think you'll really enjoy this. So let me grab those two links for you. And then we'll see what other questions people have. Let me move on to our marching band image here while I grab that link for you. Okay. Here's one video link. And one more. And then Dan, you wanted the link to the recording from Charlie's demo yesterday, right? Anything else that people need links to or that you have questions about? Yes, pixabay.com. You got that right. That is a free video site. I mean, a free image site. Actually, they do have videos there too, but it's mostly images. All right, let me get the link for Charlie's. Dan, are you talking about the link for in stream or the link for the YouTube channel? I guess I can share both. For YouTube, okay. Let me grab that. I'm sorry, that's not one that I had pulled up, so it's going to take me a second to find it. And if anybody does have a question and you want to unmute and ask, as long as you don't start an echo, you're welcome to do that. Okay, here it is. By the way, if you're not familiar with that YouTube channel, the DST training videos channel, you can just search for it by the channel name if you want to find everything. The link I'm going to share here is specifically to the video from yesterday. But you can also just go to YouTube and search for DST training videos. That's the name of the channel. All right, no questions? If not, then thank you for attending, and I hope to see you at some of the future learning events. Again, these are going to be short sessions, so hopefully you can squeeze that into your day. You know what? I am not seeing the tile button on my screen, so that's why I did not do that, but
I think when you're sharing your screen, we won't see the participant.
Yeah, you gotta stop sharing your screen.
that's right. That's what's wrong. Thank you. All right, but it's still not showing everything.
You're still sharing.
Oh, stop presenting. That's what I need to do. All right. And I looked for this earlier. I'm not seeing the tile button.
Everybody start talking. Your picture will show up.
But I should be able to tile anyway, right?
Only if the people have their video on.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I thought it would show their pictures if they
Let's
didn't.
do it again. We only got
It
4
seems-
people, guys, so we need some more people to talk.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm calling on Steve. Say something.
Something.
Thank you. Claire.
Hello.
Hello, Melody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Melody, will you say hello to your hubby for me, please?
Hey.
Sure. Who's this?
This is Tina. He was great. I really enjoyed working with him.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Some people don't have a mic, so they can't.
Wily Wild Coyote.
All right. Well, thank you so much for attending, everybody. And as I said, I look forward to seeing you on some of the weekly events. You can, if you are a member of the team, we're going to get them added to the team's calendar, hopefully next week. In the meantime, they are in the Volunteer Connection group on the calendar in there and also on the news tab. Plus, you should have gotten an email this week, yesterday, I think, with the
Yes.
full schedule for July.
Yes, we did.
All right, good, good. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the recording then and wish you all a good night.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Take care.